Now, the Subway Final Word.
Good evening, I'm Albie Oxenrider, and welcome to the Subway Final Word. This is the show that invites you into the conversation, and this is the place to get your opinion on TV every Sunday night. And let's get started by introducing you to tonight's three panelists. From Trib Total Media, it's the Pens beat writer Josh Yohe. Hi, Josh.
Albie, the big man, isn't here, so I have to say, woo!
Right. World-renowned author and veteran sportscaster John Staggerwald is with us.
Hello there.
Any other messages?
That'll be about it. Well, Pittsburgh Podcast Network. Check me out there.
Oh, okay. There you go.
Throw that in, a little plug.
How about you, Kevin? Also from the Trib, Kevin Gorman.
Thanks for having me, Albie.
Thanks for shaving. Right.
My pleasure.
Thanks for being with us tonight. And some of the topics we'll be talking about tonight: the Pirates and Neil Walker's future, the credibility of the NFL, and which Pittsburgh sports team is in the best position for success right now. First, the night's big topic. The Penguins, the approaching trade deadline is getting a lot of people thinking, should the Penguins look to make another deal? And who would you like to see them get if so? Josh, trade deadline's 4 weeks from tomorrow. Is that correct?
Yeah, Albie, March 2nd is the trade deadline. Everybody wants the Penguins to make a deal. They probably will. But here's the thing. Everybody always says, need another forward, need another winger for Sid or Gino, need another bottom six forward. That would all be great. What they really need is another defenseman. They've got three really good top four defensemen in Chris Letang, Paul Martin, and Christian Ehrhoff. However, they don't have a fourth one. Robert Bortuzzo isn't that guy. Derek Pouliot will be that guy. He's not there yet. Every time Simone Dupre goes away from Scuderi to play into the top four, he struggles. Scuderi certainly isn't that guy, even though he's had a better season. They need another top four guy to play with Christian Ehrhoff. The problem is those guys aren't readily available. You've got to give up a lot to get a guy like that. I don't know if they will, but I think that's number one on Jim Rutherford's wish list.
All right, Stag, it's a month away. What do you do?
Well, I think people seem to be forgetting that they made a trade when they got Perron here. He is on pace, based on what he's done since he's been playing with Sidney Crosby. He's on pace for a 56-goal season over an 81-game season. He's playing pretty well, and so I don't think they need a forward there, and I think they're fine there. And I agree with Josh. You always would like to have a defenseman, defensive defenseman. Seems like they're looking for that every year going into the playoffs, but so is everybody else. And, you know, in order to get that guy, you have to give something up somewhere else. You're not going to give up a defenseman because you're trying to get one because you need him. So and if you deplete your top six forwards, then you haven't accomplished anything. I think you stand pat unless a deal you can't refuse pops up in front of your face.
Kevin, what would you do?
Well, you're not going to find any horses' heads in anybody's beds at the Penguins, so I don't know they're going to get a deal that they can you can't refuse. But I think they need to make a deal. Last year, they showed that standing pat doesn't work, that they weren't good enough to go as far as they want to go in the playoffs, and that's to win the Stanley Cup. A guy I'd like to see, or someone similar to him, would be a guy like Dominic Moore, a guy who's made them pay in the playoffs the past couple of years. They've lost to Dominic Moore's teams when he was with the Canadiens, with the Lightning, and with the Rangers last year, and he's a guy who only has 14 points, 4 goals this season, but in the playoffs has done very well and has been a kind of a postseason grinder type that I think would be well suited for a team like this.
All right, a reminder to keep the comments coming. You can find us on Twitter at WPXI Final Word and on Facebook at The Final Word. On Twitter, we get this: backup goalie. Greiss is okay, but they need better come playoff time. Thanks for that, Josh. I don't know if that's a priority. And not surprisingly, though, there were some Yager tweets about making a deal for Yager.
Yeah, Greiss has been a little disappointed. He had a really good start to the season. The last couple of months, not very good at all. As for Yager, I don't think it's going to happen, but boy, wouldn't that be great. We can keep dreaming about it at least, and I don't think it's impossible. I think it's highly unlikely.
And don't forget, by the way, it was 2 years ago. Was it 2 years now that they brought Jerome McGinley? They got Morrow in here. They made a major 2 big trades, got in 2 big-name guys. They didn't use them correctly, or either that or they didn't get what they wanted out of those guys, or both. So they've done it both ways. They've made big trades that have helped them go to the Stanley Cup Finals or win a cup even, but they've also made big splashes at trading deadline and done nothing with it.
Here's a trade I'll make. The 2009 Sidney Crosby and Evgeny Malkin for this year's Sidney Crosby and Evgeny Malkin.
Yeah.
I want to see those guys play in the playoffs like they did in 2009 when they won the Stanley Cup and were absolutely dominant. That's what I want to see.
All right, just hold the thought for a minute. Let's go back to Twitter. Bring back 68. Him and Malcolm would be magic. Also bottom 6 depth. Staggy, you just heard it from Josh that it's probably not likely, but how would Yager look back in black and gold in your opinion?
He'd look very large, and he's still a sniper, but I think it's a dream, and I think too much would be expected of him, and I don't know where would you play him, and who would you play him for? Josh, maybe you can answer that.
Well, they would play him with Malkin if they got him, and in a perfect world they would try to get him, but the fact is he still makes a lot of money, and other teams are interested in him, the Rangers and Islanders chief among them, and they probably have more flexibility in terms of the salary cap, and they have better prospects to offer. So you don't want to get into a bidding war for a guy who's about to become 43 years old. I don't care how great he has been or how beloved he still is by some people in the fan base. It'd be a great story. My fingers are crossed, trust me, but it's not likely, just logistically speaking.
Kevin, what do you think? Real
Well,
fast.
and the thing is, who do you give up? The guy that everybody thought would be trade bait at the beginning of the season, as Josh noted, is well needed on this team as a Paul Martin. You can't give up Paul Martin because they need him on defense. So I don't see how they can be able to lure a big name here because they don't have the trade bait to give up.
All right, coming up later, which Pittsburgh team's future is brightest, and how much credibility has the NFL lost in light of all of last season's problems? Well, this tweet says the league has lost zero credibility. The NFL had no credibility to begin with. Thanks to the commissioner. Thank you for that. Back with more of the Subway Final Word right after this.